Friday afternoon, you're watching the Pulse on the Joy News channel. This afternoon, road tolls likely to come back in 2024. Transport Minister tells Parliament today as the House approves some 4.6 billion Ghana cedis for its services next year.
The committee tells us that the road tolls are likely to be reintroduced. I believe that for good reason, government had a policy of not having tolls collected.
We'll get into the details shortly. Meanwhile, the National Security Minister laments low allocation to his ministry in the budget for 2024, an election year, but says that they will manage and keep the country safe.
I want to assure the House that we will do everything to be able to accommodate the various challenges that we face.
And also this afternoon, the Ghana Association of University Administrators are calling on the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission to review the harmonized allowance system, expressing concern over some senior members receiving minimum salaries of some 800 Ghana cedis. Will tell you why the group is concerned, citing potential exodus of university administrators across the country. It's coming up here on the Pulse, plus many other stories. I'm Blessed Suga. Don't forget that the Pulse, as always, is brought to you by Global Communities Digni Lu Affordable Safe Sanitation. We're on DSTV channel 421, GoTV channel 125, we're on Facebook, YouTube, and at myjoyonline.com. Welcome to the Pulse. Joy News is independent, fearless, and credible. We'll get to the stories shortly. Please stay. And this afternoon, the Minister for Roads and Highways has told Parliament that road tolls will likely be reintroduced in 2024. Government cancelled this road toll collection in 2021 after introducing the electronic transfer levy, which has failed to live up to its promise. The ministry also says that there must be a national dialogue on financing road constructions across various parts of the country. Minority Chief Whip Gavins Kwame Akpoja says that the road tolls are welcome and government must digitalize the collection process.
The minister is proposing for a national dialogue on road financing. Mr. Speaker, I think that is the appropriate thing to do. Let us all have a conversation as to how we fund our roads. We can never have enough loans or World Bank or free money from anywhere. So let's have a debate on how we fund our roads internally. So apart from this is the most important thing I have seen in this, because if we are able to address this together as one people, we have sat here and said that once upon a time, accrual to road fund was just about 250 million. Honorable Enusa Husseini came to this house and requested Parliament to increase the petroleum revenue portion to 47%. That is what made it 1.2 billion at the time. Today it's approaching 3 billion. Maybe it's time we need to think of what we can do to see if we can generate our own 6 to 10 billion cedis annually. Then a finance minister can decide what to do with that, because that is our own money. So, Mr. Speaker, I'm very excited about that particular one. The last one is the reintroduction of road tolls. Mr. Speaker, I think the minister has done the right thing. We've maintained that the suspension was in a haste. Even if today, by the time we suspended it, we're getting 78 million. Mr. Speaker, 78 million can pay SMCs, small, medium contract who are within the roadside, because today we can't pay them. So I welcome the bold decision by the minister to reintroduce the debate on road tolls as well. We don't believe it should come in the form it used to be. It can come in a form that is more sustainable and that can protect the accruals more than it used to be. So, Mr. Speaker, these two paragraphs I'm happy about.
While also commenting on the matters, the Majority Leader Alexander Penyamaki saying that the decision to reintroduce the road tolls is in the right direction.
The committee tells us that the road tolls are likely to be reintroduced. I believe that for good reason, government had a policy of not having tolls collected. The Speaker, at the time, we were receiving almost about just a little over 70 million. And we are told that there was a research by a very respected organization, and this research revealed that over 70% of tolls collected ended up in wrong hands. So, Mr. Speaker, the records had a far lesser amount, and this was very insufficient. I hold a view that this reintroduction of the road tolls, which reintroduction my respected colleague, the Chief Whip on the minority bench, has no problem with, upon being reintroduced, should come with, Mr. Speaker, a digitalized solution to sustain it, so that the human interface will be minimized, if not to be eradicated. We have systems that would allow a perfect way of collecting these tolls for the funds to get into government hands. I believe that with the work done by this research body, that revealed that if the road tolls are properly accounted for, we're likely to rake in between 2.5 to 3 billion cedis. If this is done with proper digitalization, Mr. Speaker, I believe that we can even get more. Mr. Speaker, having said that, I've heard the lamentations of the committee and that of colleagues who had the opportunity to speak before me. And they talked about amount owed contractors. Mr. Speaker, it is true. It is true. But we as a on monies owed contractors. But to what extent are we also advocating for the part of the contract that allows for the contractor to go by the lifetime, the lifespan of the contract?
Very interesting question there, but the chairperson, when it comes to persons with disability who've been working at the various toll centers, the chairperson of that Toll Workers Association, Rashad Muhammad, joining us via Zoom on this very matter. Thank you, sir, for spending some time with us here on the poll. So the question, first of all, about the introduction of technology is bringing the fear that yes, this might be a sigh of relief to many of your members who are hoping to regain employment, but the approach towards the reintroduction might change. First of all, how are you receiving this news that government is planning to reintroduce the tolls?
Opportunity to greet your listeners and viewers. My take on this issue, I'm very happy in the sense that the toll is coming back and is going to help in generating revenue to assist in the country. Okay, but my major problem is that those of us who have worked at the toll before or the S2 collectors, the government is owing us, and you can't work with hunger. You need to feed before you can work. So I think we have problem with our arrears. That is the main problem for us now.
Yeah, have you engaged government on your concerns, knowing now that at least it's firmed up, the road tolls will be introduced, which means that the tolling booths may be up in a matter of weeks or days?
Please, the question again.
I'm just saying that knowing the government has finally laid that before Parliament, the reintroduction will happen, the toll booths might be up again. So is that not an opportunity for many of your members to gain employment?
Yeah, it's an opportunity, but the toll work is not mainly for persons with disability. Because Ghana here, there's no job opportunity for persons living with disability. That is why we are always rushing to the toll. But as I'm talking to you now, we are not happy at all, in the sense that the government is owing us, and you can't work with anger. Most of our colleagues are dead. You understand? Due to this closure, because some of them went and rented a place that they were transferred to. So they have to rent there. Now the closure of the toll made them, it rendered them homeless. some borrowed money when the minister told us that he will pay us until reassignment. Later, when he said he can no longer pay, they committed suicide. So what is the happiness of bringing the tool back so that persons with disability will be glad?
If there's a message to the roads and highways minister right now, what would you want him to know? As of course, the government is now considering reintroducing the tolls.
Right now, we are looking up to our arrears. He should settle us. Because we've worked for it, and he said he will pay us. Even the time that they closed the toll wasn't the day that they terminate our contract. It was in 2022 that they terminated the contract. That was May. So at least they should have provided us with something that we can also use to sustain ourselves within this festivity period. Many are dying. They are dying out of hunger.
Okay, Rashad, we'll see what then happens in the coming days. Rashad Muhammad speaking on behalf of the persons with disability working at the various toll booth centers before government reversed that decision. Now it's up again, and there's more happening in Parliament because the National Security Minister Albert Kandapa today has lamented the low budgetary allocation for his ministry. In the 2024 budget, the ministry demanded some 2.5 billion cedis from the Finance Ministry for 2024 to deal with election-related issues and emerging terrorism threats. But they got only 1.6 billion cedis. Despite this, the minister says his ministry will make do with the amount and continue to keep the nation safe.
We are aware of the domestic and also the external security challenges, as well as the challenges of the election year. We had estimated that we would need an amount of about 2.5 billion cedis. Unfortunately, our allocation has been reduced to 1.6 billion because the national envelope was not big enough. In spite of this, Mr. Speaker, we want to assure the House that we will do everything to be able to accommodate the various challenges that we face, and we will make sure that we are able to confront the challenges.
While still in the House, the Minister for Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, Shirley Ayokobuchi, says Ghanaians do not currently pay realistic fees for the passport application process and is asking Parliament to approve an increment in the charges. The minister indicated Ghanaians pay just 100 cedis for passports, whilst to produce the document itself, it will cost the government some 400 Ghana cedis. Speaking during the consideration of budget estimates for her ministry, the minister says the passport is no longer used as an identity because of the Ghana card, and the price must therefore go up.
Mr. Speaker, on the issue of the cost of passports, it goes without saying that it is not sustainable. We cannot sustain this. And therefore, I would plead with this Honorable House to look at the issue for us. It is already before the Subsidiary Legislation Committee, and I'm hoping that Ghanaians will pay realistic prices for passports. Today, passports are no longer IDs. They don't serve as IDs. We have the national ID card. And therefore, those who need passports are those who need it to travel. And therefore, I don't believe that they will not, or they would want us to continue to subsidize it.
Well, Parliament approved 1.1 billion cedis for the ministry to spend. Ranking member on Foreign Affairs Committee, Okudzeto Ablakwa, had concerns about the possible confiscation of the Ghanaian properties abroad. He's been speaking on the floor of the House.
I want to place on record that the Honourable Minister for Foreign Affairs has assured us that the media reports which troubled all of us earlier this year of a judgment debt of $140 million, the GPGC matter Trafigura, which they have attached a number of our properties in the UK, particularly Regina House. The foreign minister assured us that she will do everything to make sure that those attached properties are protected. I take note that the finance minister has started paying that judgment debt of $140 million. But, Mr. Speaker, clearly this is judgment debt which was avoidable, which should not have put our diplomatic missions under such stress, under such risk. And ministers must be told in very clear terms that when they are taking these decisions, they should think about the interests of the country. This contract, Mr. Speaker, for 5 years will have cost just $140 million. Now, for no work done, we have to pay a judgment debt of $140 million. And the risk is really real and alive, that if care is not taken, if we default, our diplomatic missions, particularly Regina House, will be lost. It will be auctioned.
Now, the Speaker of Parliament, Usman Bagbin, has asserted that the 1992 Constitution has allocated too much power to the executive head of the country, which is the President. This, he says, is hurting the progress of the country, and advocated for an amendment of the Constitution to reflect current dynamics of democracy. Mr. Bagbin, however, indicated that it will take a holistic effort to effect an amendment to reduce the powers of the president, but he's optimistic a process will commence after the 2024 general elections. He was speaking at a press soiree with members of the media in the Volta region as part of events to commemorate the 30th anniversary celebration of Parliament.
I think in our constitution and our laws, we got it wrong. We gave a lot of power to one of the members of the tripod. The three arms of government is in the form of a tripod. So you have so much power with the executive. Nobody sees anything wrong with what they do. And so if the presidency in an annual budget can take, for example, 3 billion Ghana cedis for the office of the president, and the whole arm that is to hold the president to account is giving about 600 million cedis. Weak body hold that mighty executive to account. How is it going to happen? If the media is the one that to hold the three of us accountable, it's just not even catered for. Media is seen in Ghana as a private enterprise. And nobody cares whether there's conditions of service or not. And so the person is struggling to survive. The people you are to hold to account, they pass in jet planes. And you are walking where they are going. How are you going to get him to account to you? So there are a lot of things that we haven't gotten right as a country. And so we use some of these opportunities, like celebrations, the 30th anniversary celebration, to think through these matters objectively. Well, you not talk about any person. We've gone it from NDC to MPP, from MPP to NDC, from NDC to MPP, and on we go.
All persons living in the middle and upper class communities in the Ashanti region are apathetic in the participation of the upcoming district level elections. Respondents cite low interest of assembly members in developing their communities, although the Electoral Commission believes it will record some 60% voter turnout. Persons living in these residential communities are not enthused about the polls. Nana Boachiado has the rest of the story.
The local level elections slated for December 19th will be conducted across 6,272 electoral areas in all districts nationwide. Over the period, the process has witnessed low voter turnouts. However, the Electoral Commission is optimistic of a 60% voter turnout in this year's election. But people living in some residential areas in Kumasi, especially in Shayeso, Adiembra, TUC and Santase, are unwilling to participate in the election due to what they describe as neglect of developmental projects.
The high 83 street lights and a crown for higher adjourn. Street lights in the engine, they be a crown for Yamami free. And I guess you could have done no more how much.
We have issues with street lights and theft, so we have decided not to participate in these elections.
We need help. I decided to vote, but not anymore. I heard of the election on radio, but I won't vote because they don't do anything for us.
The communities are calm, although campaign banners and stickers of candidates are visible. Godswe Blasu lives in the Adjunasi Amamfrom electoral area.
Oh, it has been rolling on our screens day in, day out. And the assemblymen, I don't know what exactly they are doing. They are just, I don't know whether it's for the namesake. I don't know, so that the people will be calling them honorable. My concern is about the road. Taxi drivers don't come here. If you go to the Star Station, they don't come here. So sometimes you are even in need of car to go to town. You don't get car. I don't see the essence of having a assemblyman in this area. Me, I'm not even going to vote.
Emmanuel Eji Dakon is the incumbent assembly member for the Adjunasi Amamfrom electoral area.
The commissioner, the publication is very, very low because of the time frame that was given. The publication is very, very low. Here at Star or Dino Kwadaso, the development, especially the arrows, they have been complaining about the arrows. So it seems whenever you go to the indigents or the voter to at least to campaign to the person, that person will tell you, I've seen no development in my area. So why is it necessary for me to come and vote?
Well, although the EC continues to intensify its campaign in ensuring a massive voter turnout during the district level election, it looks as if some residents still feel reluctant in participating in this whole electoral process, especially residents living in residential areas. Well, they attribute the unwillingness to participate in this electoral process to underdevelopment over the years. For Joy News, my name is Nana Boachidanko, Kumasi.
And still in politics, former President John Dramani Mahama has shared a personal story on his participation in the 24-hour shift in his formative years as a worker on his father's rice farm. The NDC flag bearer details how his engagement as a factory hand is driving his campaign promise of a 24-hour economy. Nana Aljima monitored that conversation on a radio station in Bodi as part of the NDC's Building Ghana tour to the Western North region.
The National Democratic Congress continues to preach its 24-hour economy ideals, which was tagged the three-shift system in its 2020 manifesto. Flag bearer John Mahama, speaking on Akwaba FM in Seshibodi, detailed his involvement in such a system years ago.
Abraham Yabofra, my papa no a rice farmer.
When I was a kid, my father was a rice farmer and owned a rice milling plant as well. Whenever we were on vacation, we worked as laborers on the mill. He didn't want us to loiter in the house. We worked as laborers and received salaries. We were running a shift system. You work on a day shift for a week and take the night shift for the other week. We were on rotation. Despite the criticism the policy has received, it remains top of the campaign message of the party. In a response to critics, the former president admitted some institutions are already practicing the policy, but says there is need to improve conditions for others to follow. Many fear of robbery attacks in the evenings, so we will have to improve security for the purpose. A lot of young people will be recruited by the security agencies. Some institutions want tax incentives to enable them engage in the system, so we will consider all of that.
What I say as an incentive, say almost on befa emaburo edumani akahon.
According to John Mahama, though the ports are running a 24-hour system, it is ineffective since other allied services are not tagging along.
24 hours. And I do ship to me bum more offload this ship no. And so bank 0.5.
The harbour operates 24 hours. They offload ships at dawn, but customs and banks do not work at night. So importers are unable to offload their goods on weekends and nights. Why can't the allied services operate at night too?
Weekends. Weekends Sunday.
For Joy News, Nanaya Ojima, Western North Region.
Well, let's get a bit of an update on the tour, the Building Ghana tour being spearheaded by the flag bearer of the NDC, John Dramani Mahama. Joining us now is Nanaya Ojima, who's been with the former president all throughout the tour. And Nanaya, bring us up to speed with where you are first of all and what's been happening all day.
So today we are in the Western Region, Takoradi to be precise. Today is a transit day into the Western Region. From the Western North, we set off yesterday to the Western Region. So presently we are in the Western Region. It's a day of rest for all of us. Tomorrow the tour of the Western Region will start, and the former president or the flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress will once again start touring various parts of the Western Region. As usual, it will be dominated by town hall meetings. He will be meeting some interest groups and other people within Western Region to take the concerns of people. And these concerns, according to the National Democratic Congress, will feed into the NDC manifesto for election 2024.
Touch on some of the topical issues coming up. For instance, there's been talking about this 24-hour economy, and which he's now sharing a personal account of how that changed his life, in the very formative years of his, life. Let's talk about how that is also simmering down within the Western North region and how people are receptive towards that message.
Well, every point that the former president or the flag bearer of the NDC has visited, the 24-hour economy has come up strongly. In the Western North region, same was experienced in the place. Every traditional authority that the former president visits will touch on the 24-hour economy, and I'm getting a sense that it's one policy that a lot of people are buying into it, and the NDC in the Western North region are trying their best to also sell this particular policy of the NDC. According to the people, they believe that this particular policy will be a game changer, and the former president John Mahama himself shares similar sentiments. That is why every community or every town hall meeting that he attends on this tour, he makes sure that he lets the people understand the 24-hour economy. And according to him, the policy is still on the drawing board. They are trying to fine-tune it and see how best it can be implemented so that it will be a game changer when it comes to the employment situation in the country. Also on the 24-hour economy or on the policies for economic transformation, the former president John Mahama in the Western North region, we also to be precise, he said that there are other policies that the NDC will try to roll out to ensure that there is economic transformation, and the 24-hour economy is just a tip of the iceberg, as he did put it when he met some party executives in the Western North region of the country. So it's expected that as we go along, other policies will start to unfold. One other policy that is coming up strongly is a policy that will ensure that teachers and other people in other sectors of the economy are able to get a housing scheme. What he's saying is that already teachers and some groupings already have some housing schemes, and what the NDC government, if possible, or if they are elected into office, will do is that the NDC government will invest in these schemes to ensure that it opens up to benefit a lot of people in various groupings or in various professions. So this is also unfolding, and he continued to explain how the NDC intends to introduce an affordable housing system for the people in various parts of the country. Also, the Western North region is an area that cocoa cultivation is very key to the people. It's one of the central points of the economy in the Western North area, and he has been promising the people of a cocoa processing factory. What he is saying is that the country has continuously dependent on this cocoa in their raw state. Whenever there is harvest of cocoa, it is sold to the foreign market raw. Now what he wants to do is that there should be value addition. He has been also talking about value addition, the agri sector in various areas, and depending on the area that he visits, the major crop that is grown there, he proposes a factory for them. For instance, at Fetenta in parts of the Bunu region, John Mahama said that there is need to build a tomato processing factory here in the Western North region. He also promised a cocoa processing factory, and he believes that if the country should change from export of raw materials to processed goods, more money will be made to help boost the economy. So these are some of the key areas of the economy that the former president continued to touch on. For instance, in the Western North region, he also promised to invest heavily in roads in the area because it's a major area for cocoa growing, and therefore if the cocoa that is grown and cultivated in this area can be cut to the market centers or to the areas where it is needed, there's the need to create very good transport system for these areas. According to him, he started the cocoa road policy, but unfortunately after the NPP government took over from him, they've mismanaged the cocoa road policy. So when he is voted once again into power, he will ensure that all these are fine-tuned and also rolled out again to benefit the various areas of the economy or the various areas in the country.
So let's wrap up by talking about the Western region, which the former president is moving into now. What are we to expect?
So it's expected that he will be meeting some groupings within the Western region, and as usual, traditional authorities will also form part of his visit. He will pay courtesy call to some traditional authorities within the Western region, and after that he will ensure that he will continue engagement with the public through town hall meetings, and people in this area will come out with peculiar challenges, especially economic groupings. People in different professions will be given the opportunity to talk to the NDC Building Ghana campaign, and these concerns will be put in the NDC manifesto. Solutions should be preferred to these concerns that are raised in the 2024 manifesto of the National Democratic Congress. So in the next 2 days, that's Saturday and Sunday, the tour will continue. John Mahama will be in the Western region, touring various parts of the Western region, and the phase 2 will be concluded in the Central region of the country.
Nana Ajima giving us the latest from the Western North region. This is your election headquarters, and we stay in politics because the chairperson of the National Democratic Congress, Johnson Asiedu Nketia, has hit out on the 2024 NPP flag bearer, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, for claiming ownership of the digitization agenda in Ghana. Asiedu Nketia says former President Mahama's achievement and investment in the sector when it comes to infrastructure for digitization of the country is unmatched, and that makes him the grandfather of digitalization and not Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. He was speaking to be an interview on PM Personality Profile with Aisha Ibrahim.
Who is the godfather of digitalization in Ghana, apart from President John Dramani Mahama?
Tell me about it.
You know, all this noise about digitalization, it all started under President John Dramani Mahama as the Minister for Communication. You know, in the past, we used to have Ministry for Posts and Telecommunication.
Okay.
It was when President Mahama became a minister that these two portfolios were separated, because there was opportunity for expansion in the telecommunication and the ICT sector.
Okay.
So John Dramani Mahama was actually the grandfather of this whole digitalization. And when he became president, go and check the records and his investments in laying the infrastructure for ICT in this country. So when you come and you have, I mean, government is a continuum. So there's nothing wrong with coming to utilize infrastructure that has been laid by your predecessor to build upon. But you don't claim ownership of digitalization in Ghana. So if you are talking about digitalization, then Bawumia doesn't come anywhere close to Mahama.
And that full interview with Johnson Asiedu Nketia airs on the Joy News channel at 9 p.m. You want to make a date on PM Personality Profile. You're watching The Pulse here. We'll be back shortly. And now to Brekum, because the NDC's parliamentary candidate for Brekum East in the Bono region, Simon Papang Chairman, has accused the city authorities of being irresponsible and playing political gimmicks with the deplorable nature of the roads in his constituency. Residents of the Sofutre and other communities appealed to fix the roads have failed and actually fallen on deaf ears. The parliamentary candidate offered to reshape the road at about 75,000 Ghana cedis to make them motorable and for them to have an ease in terms of the impact on residents, especially the aged and pregnant women. Precious Semafo was there and now comes through with this report.
We are suffering on the road, whether dry or rainy season. Mr. Afo sums up the frustrations of residents and users of the deplorable roads at Sofutre, Chireba and Nyametiase in the Brekum East municipality. They said they remain exposed to the dangers of driving the sick on the road and inhaling the dust after years of city authorities' failure to fix the roads despite the many demonstrations. People cannot walk home if you don't work. It's worse for pregnant women who complain of pains at the least speed on the road. The parliamentary candidate of the NDC in Brekum East, Simon Ampabin Chirme, offered to reshape the 25 kilometers of roads at about 75,000 cedis. He said the gesture is a response to residents' call for help.
The road has really deteriorated to a level where it is seriously in more trouble. We have called on the authorities that be the Pragia group, the citizenry, and all other well-meaning Bekum people have demonstrated time and again on this road. But the leaders and the powers that be have turned deaf ears on them. So the people called on me that if there's anything I could do to help them. I accepted their call. I decided to come in to kind of help, at least to bring relief to the people who ply this road and the very people who reside around this enclave. So we have started with this one from Berlin Junction all the way to the last stop, Sofotre last stop. When we are done with this road, we are moving to Chiriba. When we leave there, we are going to Nyametiase.
Some residents, though grateful, shared mixed reactions.
Normally, we
only see machines on the road during the election period.
It
needs proper filling and made compact so that even if they won't tar it, they can use it during the rainy season. Mr. Chairman accused the Brekum East Assembly of playing political gimmicks with the situation, but said he would continue to work in the interest of the people.
I see it as negligence and an act of irresponsibility on the part of the powers that be. And more importantly, playing political gimmick with the people of Brekum. When it was getting to an election, they brought a contractor on the road. Right after the elections, they left. We have demonstrated and demonstrated and demonstrated. We have called on the assembly, we have called on the MP. That kind of playing games with the minds of the people, we have grown past this level. And if anybody thinks that the contractor is coming to side, we're ready. We'll partner with the contractor and help them to facilitate the road.
Precious Semevo, Joy News, Brekum.
And now death puts an end to all misery in the world. However, death can also leave families devastated. In debt, my colleague Caleb Mensah has been speaking with funeral industry players who complain that it is no longer affordable to bury the dead.
The mechanics of what I think.
Yes, so I don't think it is expensive because the 1,000 cedis that you pay, it goes with the space, not just only the space, there's digging. We don't just bury in the quite the earth grade like that. You still need to put in some form of block work inside the grave before we bury. So all these things has a cost.
For this government very idea, this government spoiled the burial because there was a time people have been not spending money on burial like this, but now so the government everything is hardship to do something. So if God willing and nobody can help you or to support to do the burial for this government we are in by this time there to bury is very hard.
the cost of labor, cost of water, cost of cement, and everything goes into it. Depending on how you want to bury will also determine on the amount you are going to pay. So costly is relative, I can say that. Depending on where you are going to bury and the location, that will determine whether. But I can tell you, Awudomi Cemetery is still the costless, the cost-effective place to bury in Accra.
And now the Ghana Association of University Administrators is calling on the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission to review the harmonized allowance system. In a statement to the association indicates that the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission is adversely altering the established conditions of service for non-teaching senior members, with some losing their allowances, which is a direct impact on their livelihood. President of the Ghana Association of University Administrators, Bet Ofei Owuku, joins us now via Zoom. Thank you, sir, for your time. Help us understand what your concerns are exactly.
Yes, thank you very much also for giving us this opportunity. Ghana Association of University Administrators we are a union of all senior member non-teaching. So when we are talking about senior members in university administration, it is about those who are leading in academic affairs, leading in human resource, health services, legal services, and all the various arms of administration in our universities. Recently, there's been a directive from the GTEC working with our managers to sort of review office holding allowances because, well, GTEC is the regulator. Now we, the association, reached GTEC and said that it should be done with a framework. There must be a policy, framework, a whole document that guides this exercise so that it is done in a non-arbitrary and non-discriminatory manner. Unfortunately, that has not happened until now. GTEC is implementing it by decisions with managers. And we are saying that until a proper framework is in place, GTEC should stop the implementation exercise. For now, UEW is the next slated for this exercise, and 13 of our members have been affected, have been slated for reduction or removal of their allowances. And we, the national executives, are saying until GTEC agrees on a framework, and until that framework is being used for this exercise, we will lay down our tools, because we won't have anyone losing their allowances, even so that later it will be reinstated. We want the thing done in a proper way. A framework must be in place. We have already worked with VCG on a certain proposed harmonized allowances schedule, which would solve this problem if that is approved. We as GAWA has already worked on a guideline as we engage with GTEC. They've asked us to tweak some parts and add one or two things. We are ready to submit it. GTEC should wait and get this well done in the proper way as university administration requires. And that's all we are asking for. If they continue to do it in this ad hoc manner, talking to managers one-on-one and getting people, varied, their conditions varied, we would lay down our tools.
There's a question as to what then you intend to do. Have you sent a petition? What are the immediate demands?
The immediate demand is for GTEC to halt the implementation. There are letters coming back and forth to managers. For instance, in UEW now, we have a list of 13 people. I have actually taken that list from our payroll, people whose allowances are slated to be taken off. If GTEC can just write to our managers that they can hold on until this policy is properly implemented, we have no problem.
What's the way forward? Do you intend to scale this up? Perhaps there's a supervising ministry beyond just dealing with the Tertiary Education Commission. What do you intend to do about this?
We have already, we had interactions with the Ministry of Employment and Labor Relations, And we've already taken this up at the National Labour Commission. In fact, at the National Labour Commission, we are supposed to be engaging with GTEC and to return on the 10th of January. So it is assumed that between now and 10th January, everybody stays actions. But GTEC is continuing with his actions. And so that makes us, there's a breach of trust here.
Yeah, and give us a picture of how that is directly affecting your members. What's been the impact? And so people can really understand how that is affecting.
Yes, people are losing as much as 3,000 Ghana cedis at the end of the month. Some are losing as much, for those whose allowances are being reduced, they lose as much as 1,500 and more. And those who are, whose allowances are being taken off, some can lose as much as 4,000 plus if we allow this implementation to go as it is. Can you imagine that you have your budget for the month? You go to the market, look at the cost of things in our nation now, and you go to the bank to pick money, and you are down by 4,000, 3,000, 1,500. And somehow the part that is not right is that you don't have a letter to notify you, okay? Or you had a letter giving you that appointment with those conditions, and suddenly it's being varied without a letter.
I see. Anyway, we wait to see. But if there's a final appeal, perhaps to GTEC, some of the officials watching us now, what would you want them to know?
We would plead that GTEC should please wait and get this approved framework in place, and let us all use the framework to regulate this exercise. Regulation is done with frameworks, and we are praying that the framework would be used. There should be no, this interaction with one-on-one managers, GTEC having to travel across the 16 universities. We think it's actually a risk to their own lives, and, and it's lost to the nation. They should wait and let the framework work. Let the paper rather go round, and everybody work with the paper.
Okay, I'm sure that paper will come around, but thank you for spending some time with us. And now 3 basic schools in the Ashanti region of Ghana have won the that's the John Binder Award for the cleanest and most environmentally friendly schools in the 2023 academic year. Now, SAP's Day Spring Community School in the Ahojo Community, Candyland Educational Complex in Ajisu, and also Has Montessori School in the Asante Bekwai area secured the first, second, and third positions, respectively, for their special efforts in adhering to green practices. We have more for you.
The impact of pollution on environment and public health in Ghana is rapidly gaining attention, prompting increased emphasis on green initiatives throughout the country. Snapiaba Savings and Loans and Opportunity International Germany instituted the awards to encourage green and clean environment ideas in basic schools. The award primarily focuses on basic schools to inculcate positive traits of environmental consciousness in children right from the early stages of their development. It evaluates schools based on green tree covers, tidy classrooms equipped with regularly emptied waste bins, well-maintained toilet facilities, and clean compound with hand-washing facilities and green environment, among other criteria. CEO of Opportunity International Dutchland, Anke Lucia, believes early-stage environmental consciousness will fasten green efforts.
So when you're a child, it's easier than when you raise up and learn why it is important to live in a green environment. And families, maybe parents who live there for their 40, 50 years and who were used to just live there, throw their trash away and not take care of the environment, then it's difficult to change their mindset. This country has to change. When I look into your beaches, you have such a beautiful country, and I see all this plastic trash. I think there needs to be a change in the environmental.
Araba Mosna Ansong is a programs manager, international and partner relations of Snapiaba.
Bringing up children, they need a clean environment to grow very, very well. And psychologically, the lessons they teach them also include aspects of green and cleanliness. And when you teach them to take it up now, they are going to grow up with it. And then if we destroyed the forest now, we wouldn't have anything to protect as a nation and as a people. So we believe in starting with these young ones, and as they grow up, they also continue with the other generations.
Proprietress of SAP's Day Spring Community School, Sabrina Martina Brimpong, is happy the school's green efforts have been acknowledged.
The green grassing, it takes a lot of work, the planting of flowers, planting of trees. But actually, it's not just for the beautification of the school. The children also learn from it. When it comes to environmental science, this is where they do their practicals. This is going to motivate us to do more, to keep our environments clean, and to we have a lot of projects to do. The prize that we had, I think we are going to invest in one of them. This is just a motivation. We are so grateful to Jack Binder Awards. We are grateful to Opportunity International. We are also grateful to Snappy About Trust.
SAP's Day Spring Community School was awarded 25,350 cedis. Candyland Educational Complex had 16,900 and Cass Montessori School got 8,450 cedis. Reporting for Joy News, Clinton Yeboah.
And now Ghana's UCMAS team has returned home to a rousing welcome. Hundreds of Ghanaians thronged the Kotoka International Airport to receive the contingents from Malaysia. The team of 30 contestants won 4 awards at the just-ended UCMAS International Competition. Joy Prime's Emmanuel Jiveno, who returned with the team from Malaysia, has come through with this report.
Excitement etched on their faces. A nation full of gratitude welcomes its gallant heroes and heroines. These budding mathematicians represented the nation with pride at the just-ended UCMAS International Competition in Malaysia. They returned home with a championship trophy, first and second runner-up trophies at the elementary level, as well as a third-place trophy for the basic level. These achievements, their families, schoolmates, friends, and indeed the Ghanaian people have come to celebrate.
This is not an individual achievement. I think this is something that the whole nation should be proud of. I mean, we're talking about holistic education of children in Ghana and the world at large. I think the beginning is what we have just observed.
You can hear from my voice, very excited. The entire family and then the school at large, everybody is hooting at them, saying congratulations and Ayiko for not just participating, but winning an award and a trophy.
We are proud to say that our children came up third runner-up for the competition.
The brilliant young minds showcased the exceptional abilities in mental arithmetic and abacus skills, leaving a lasting mark on the global stage. Some school heads are excited about the exploits of their pupils. They are convinced to invest more in preparing their children for more laurels.
15 years ago, we set out on this journey to establish a school that will train children to become what? Global citizens, children who can compete anywhere in the world, and that is what we have as our vision. Our children are living our dreams. We are walking the talk.
The UCMAS contestants were overwhelmed by the reception accorded them upon their arrival. They believe the gesture would motivate them to achieve more success for the nation. The organizers of UCMAS in Ghana thanked all who in diverse ways made the trip a success. They also urged parents to take advantage of the program and enroll their children for a holistic transformation.
We could see parents' excitement and reaction. This tells us that indeed UCMAS had come to stay. UCMAS is a family. It's not a brand, it's a family. So at this moment, if there is any school or any parent whose child is not part of the UCMAS program, I want to use this opportunity to invite you to register your child, to register your school, to be part of the family. It's a great and wonderful family. Let's join the family. The bus is moving.
The 2024 UCMAS International Competition will be staged in India, and the Ghanaian team is yearning to outdo their performance in the bid to keep Ghana's flag high. Emmanuel Jivenu, Joy Prime.
And the people of Nakwaili, a farming community in the Nanumba South District of the Northern Region, have heaved a sigh of relief following the construction of an ultra-modern maternity ward for the only health facility in the community to support expectant mothers during delivery. Prior to the construction of the maternity ward, expectant mothers in the community used to travel very far to Woolensey and also Bimbala to access delivery services. There's more in the following report.
The construction of this maternity block is to provide emergency obstetric care for about 30 communities within the Nanumba South District of the Northern Region. The aim of the facility is to improve accessibility to skilled care and thus reduce morbidity and mortality for mothers and neonates. The Abuya Foundation, the organization that constructed that ward, conducted some studies and obtained report of positive impact on the outcome for women and their newborns. Alhaji Aminu Idrisu is the Chief Executive Officer of the Abuya Group.
But what informed the maternity was that when we were commissioning the mosque somewhere last year by this time, the community already, they were not having a maternity. So if a woman is giving birth, they have to send the woman to Bimbala or Woolensey. And then by so doing, some people will deliver on the way, some people will deliver and have complications and all those things. And then, and during the commissioning of the mosque, I've realized that one of our guys' wives were rushed to Bimbala for delivery, which they informed me during the distance. So I pray to God that God should help us to get the maternity.
The midwife at the facility, Jennifer Akuto, explained the impact the maternity ward would make in the beneficiary communities.
When I came here 2021, because the place, our delivery room, we have only 2 beds for the delivery, and our catchment area is large. So when the ladies comes like that, because the beds are only 2, we are not able to accommodate all of them. Sometimes we have to conduct deliveries on the floor because there's no enough beds for us to. And after delivery, we have only 2 beds that is our lie-in, that they can come and lie, and then we'll monitor them for the 6 hours. So because the beds are only 2, we are not able to monitor our postpartum mothers after delivery up to the 6 hours. So sometimes when they deliver and you monitor them 2-3 hours, you have to let them go and give space for the others that are to deliver.
National Chairman of Opposition NDC, Johnson Asiedu Nketia, who was one of the dignitaries who graced the occasion, lauded the CEO of Abuya Group, Alhaji Aminu Idrisu, for using the corporate social responsibility arm of his companies, Abuya Foundation, to touch lives.
We heard about the story of Alhaji Abuya, beginning from the construction of a school for his community. Then he followed to construct a mosque, that is a prayer house. And today, he has completed a maternity ward, which signifies the beginning of life. So all the 3 key projects are projects that have been carefully selected. And I want to thank him from the bottom of my heart.
The chances of women dying because of complications of pregnancy and childbirth are still high in many parts of Ghana and around the world. With the construction of this ward, the story of these communities is about to change for the better. For Joy News, Samuel Kojo Brace, Nanumba South District, Northern Region.
In our Drive Safe campaign series today, we hear from an accident survivor recounting traumatic memories from the Amina Commander Junction accident, which occurred on the 3rd of August 2022. The accident led to the loss of 14 lives out of 15 passengers. Judith Barnes, sole survivor, shares her thoughts on road accidents, highlighting how careless driving can lead to road fatalities during the festive period.
was traveling from Takoradi to Cape Coast in the morning of the 3rd of August 2022 when the fatal accident happened. She was among 14 others. Everyone excluding her died in the accident.
My accident happened 3rd August last year, 2022. And this is the car I was sitting in. It happened at Edweji. There was a bush burning beside the road. Cars coming from Takoradi were stopped. Cars coming from Accra, Kumasi too were stopped. So this side will go a little, and the other side too will go a little. Passing through the smoke, it got to our turn. We entered the smoke. Then there was a truck loaded with 850 bags coming from Takoradi to Accra. He got to the scene. He overtook the car parked and then entered the smoke. And since his car was in a top speed, he just moved from his lane, came through our lane and then hit our car. And I was sitting right behind the driver. In fact, we were 15 passengers in the car. 14 were brought out. I was the last person who was brought out.
Judith expresses her appreciation to the Accident Victim Support Foundation for coming to her aid during her time of treatment at the Cape Coast Hospital. Reverend Cyril Crabb, head of the Accident Victim Support, shares how the foundation reached out to Judith.
Regards to Judith Banks, we heard the accident that went very viral, and we saw images and videos, and so we set off to come and ascertain if there are anyone who survived. So already we heard that 15 people have died, and that is a number out there. But thanks be to God where we came. Judith has been taken from the car, under the car, and has been sent to the hospital. We continue to the hospital and we find out that Judy was in coma.
Frederick Nyanka is the Public Relations Officer at Cape Coast Teaching Hospital. He said the unfortunate part about most accident victims is the difficulties of funding their medical bills.
The unfortunate part is that most of these victims come to the hospital and they find it difficult to pay these bills, and we need to sometimes fall on some individuals and organizations to help pay their bills.
As the Yuletide approaches, Judith Barnes is advising drivers and passengers to be vigilant on the road. Caleb Mensah's report read to you.
And road traffic crashes in the Ashanti region rose by some 24% in 2022. The efforts to reduce road crashes, especially during the festive season, the tipper track operation and other light vehicle drivers in Kumasi have been engaged in road safety precautionary practices. The workshop organized by automobile company Zonda Tech Ghana aims to reduce the rampancy of these accidents.
Data from the Ashanti Regional Office of the National Road Safety Authority indicates 350 fatalities have been recorded this year, as against 377 fatalities at the same time last year. Zonda Tech Ghana Limited, a heavy and light-duty automobile company, organized a road safety education for drivers to heighten road crash preventive practices. The second edition of the public awareness campaign engages motorists, pedestrians and the general public on safety measures to prevent road accidents. Human Resource Manager of Zonda Tech Ghana, Daniel Amwa, says the event forms part of the firm's corporate responsibility. He's admonishing drivers to seek proper and regular car servicing and maintenance.
Machines made in such a way that at a point in time it will need servicing. So we want all drivers to take their servicing seriously. Zonda Tech Ghana Limited, one of our core values is to place safety first. We want to reduce road accidents in Ghana, especially during this Christmas period. And checking the statistics from the National Road Safety Authority, you can see that the accident rate has reduced. And we believe we are part of the partners or the contributors to this great achievement in Ghana road safety.
The Ashanti Regional Director of the Road Safety Authority, Akwesi Ajenim Boateng, emphasized the need to comply with laid-out road regulations in curbing road accidents.
We're advising most of the drivers to be safety conscious. Let's say observing road traffic rules and regulations. Issues like fatigue driving, a lot of people will travel. So we will encourage most of the drivers to have adequate rest before they embark upon their journey.
we have a checklist that they are to follow. So if you are to abide by all these rules and regulations, we will have a lot of minimum issue with the law with respect to road safety and also ensure our safety.
Ashanti Regional Manager for the Red Cross Society is entreating entities to prioritize first aid education.
If you are a driver, the most important thing you need to do is to learn first aid so that in case of any emergency, you can render first aid. If you don't know first aid and there's an accident, you can't do anything about it. So as a community, as a country, we need to think of how to equip ourselves in first aid so that when there is any accident and casualties are involved, we need to go in there and render first aid.
Some beneficiaries said the education has been an eye-opener.
But an addition, near the whole road science.
Reporting for Joy News, Clinton.
And our Parliament has approved a concessionary agreement between the Roads Ministry and the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund worth some $338 million for the expansion of the Tema Motorway Redevelopment and Expansion Project. The motorway, which troubles are well documented, will be expected to, of course, turn into a 10-lane construction and will last for some 36 months in terms of the project. Listen to Chairperson of the Roads and Transport Committee on why this agreement is crucial.
The committee observed that 1% of the revenue accrued to from the project will be given to the Ministry of Roads and Highways. Mr. Speaker, the motorway project is expected, the concession period is for 30 years, and it is expected to be completed in 36 months. Mr. Speaker, it is a 10-lane project redevelopment that they are doing. They are going to expand the lanes to be 10-lane with 8 interchanges at various sections of the project. Comprises of 3 sessions. The first section, the second section, and the third section. The first section is a 19.5 kilometers, with the second section at 2.7 kilometers, and the third section is 1.5 kilometers. Mr. Speaker, altogether is about 27.7 kilometers. In conclusion, after carefully considering the committee going through the concession agreement, we will recommend to the House to adopt the concession agreement under the public-private partnership between the government of the Republic of Ghana, acting on its behalf by the Ministry of Roads and Highways, and ATEP Limited, a wholly owned subsidiary of Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund, as the employer, for an amount of $338,897,540 United States dollars for the redevelopment and expansion of the Accra-Tema Motorway project.
And Ghana's fishing industry is a lifeblood of the economy, providing some livelihood to scores of people, and well documented is to some 2 million people, or 1 in every 16 Ghanaian from Aplau to Cape 3 Points. Artisanal fishers supply 80% of the fish we eat. One aspect of the fish processing is more dangerous than all others, according to the experts, and the smoking. That's the aspect of smoking of fish to preserve them for sale. The jobs falls exclusively to women, as also Asiedu found when he visited the coastal Accra community of Jamestown. In this collaboration with New Narratives, the health impacts are causing harm to women who do it.
Ghana's fishing industry is the lifeblood of the economy, providing livelihood to 2 million people, or 1 in every 16 Ghanaians. From Aflao to Cape 3 Points, artisanal fishers supply 80% of the fish we eat. One aspect of the fish processing is more dangerous than all the others, according to experts. to preserve them for sale. This job falls exclusively to women. As Prince Owusu Esiedu found when he visited the coastal Accra community of Jamestown. In this collaboration with new narratives, the health impacts are causing harm to the women who do it. On a recent morning here in Jamestown, the scent of the fish fills the air and the sound of seagulls echoes through the skies as men, women and children pull boats ashore and sort a mountain of fish. Abigail is a third generation of women in her family who have done this work, but she may be the last. Abigail has watched the toll the smoke has taken on her mother, Mansa Tete's health over the last 30 years.
Well, mommy, me. Because of la suka ni bi ewo ba che heko ame wo dia fen wa me ame hingben gba me na ka si bi na me kete live ya no twumo mi abwe na me ya hu ka si bi ni dumosumo le cha me kete.
Abigail says after 30 years smoking fish, the signs of her mother's suffering were clear: red eyes and blurred vision, a persistent cough, chest pains and sleepless nights.
What be no be, what's be no be, or would jam going borna. How can you what the more like can be a level fetamino no what TD in Dan Joe me be an fame in a corner to form back.
Abigail's mother was admitted to Kolebu Teaching Hospital in Accra with a severe case of malaria that had taken hold of her weakened body. Abigail remembers those agonizing days.
Kolebu, but ni be a Jamestown where you are hela fair and you're serious. Kolebu, or Kolebu don't have a hospital, cannot fear no Kashibe in Mochame.
Mansa Tete is one of thousands of Ghanaian women who are suffering from the health impacts of smoking fish. Smoking is a vital part of the fishing industry, taking fresh fish from the sea and preserving it without the need for refrigeration. As much as 90% of the fish Ghanaians eat is smoked. But the traditional way of smoking fish over firewood, in metal drums or mud stoves exposes women to a range of health problems from respiratory illnesses to eye irritations and headaches. Doctors say it can cause cancer and make health problems such as tetanus, malaria life-threatening. It's not just killing Ghanaians. Researchers estimate that there are 6 million fish smoking ovens in West Africa alone. None of this is news to the women here in Jamestown. The situation is dire. In Jamestown alone, around 150 fishmongers out of a nationwide total of 170,000 are grappling with the effects of air pollution caused by their work, says the fishmongers at Jamestown and Fish and Processing Traders Association here. It's not just the women who face the smoke. They expose unborn children when pregnant and children and babies who are with them when they work. The lungs of children and small babies are even less able to deal with the pollutants. Doctors warn that children exposed to smoke can suffer asthma and issues with brain development. The women know this too, according to this mother. It is a constant story here. All the women I speak with say they know the dangers. They would leave the job if they could get an alternative way of making money.
Lion work a shall be peer a fair or wing me. Last me fair or wing me. One I go like a jane. Nicola qualite me a few more red go green. One I love a few tassoon, Kajana.
One I cover that basin again. No, I call short to no tole. She covered that because she knew to the cabinot moe, bear tobo becca fenaka, Bogomo bandu pure tafe, such as Muno, the Mono, the Moon, and no, I know, Babo, no. A shabby. And I'm doing it to I meant my that's for when I go. It's all pet so, and I am initiating it with you. I didn't, but me try and to tell Obi and one of Beijing. And Papa so a duma and see I'm the neighbor. I mean, Obi Beijing, I can make my Johnny Panama.
I was sure, but me no be no be sure. And tell I'm the neighbor edumani soon. Come in but I call him now ubre, but we do my and to me die to watch.
The implications are grave, not only for the present, but for the future generations as well. But health experts say there are ways for women to reduce their risk. Women are urged to reduce the time they spend with the smoke, to smoke outdoors with ventilation where possible, and to keep babies and children away from the smoke. Dr. Amwa also urges families to buy improved smoke stoves, now accessible in local markets, to further reduce exposure. As we reflect on the challenges faced by our fishmongers, let's remember the silent struggle against the smoke. This story sheds light on a hidden peril, a reminder that progress should never come at the cost of health. From the shores of Jamestown, let's join hands in supporting these resilient fishmongers on their journey towards safer and more sustainable practices. Join us next time on Life's Twists and Turns for more stories that explore the human spirit's unyielding strength.
And it's been a pleasure with you here on the Polls. But that's all we have for you in this package. For more news, just log on to myjoyonline.com. Thanks for your company.